Hey, welcome to Talk About Paint Club, your tri-monthly tangent from the world around you. I'm your host, Rick Strohmeyer, and we are joined with tonight by...
Your other host who hasn't been here, Matt Hatton.
Oh, Nicole, how are you doing tonight?
I'm tired.
Yeah?
Flying then driving 5 hours after only being home for a day is...
Yeah. Where'd you go?
But we move on.
Heck yeah.
Well, no, I'm not.
All right. Let's see. Oh, I thought I'd close the tab, and I'm like, oh no! Or cancel the show before we started. Right.
Welcome to Talk About
Okay.
Paint Club. Goodbye from Talk About Paint Club.
All right. So this is not our normal scheduled day. Thanks for anybody and everybody who tuned in on a short notice. Due to weekend complications, this is the best we could do. And as much as I love talking and painting and being on Paint Club, this will end at 8:30 because one thing I do love about streaming is you can do it almost anytime, anywhere. But there are many of us. There are plenty of us in the toy community that have different shows, and I'm not going to counter program at all against Booze and Buddies. That is at 8:30 tonight. So we end at 8:30 on the nose. So
this is why we love Rick.
Well, I don't believe in it. Like it's like, thank you, but yeah, I'm like, we could have a streaming guide to figure out like where everybody. We could potentially set up a communal streaming guide to know when everybody's doing what, so we could always be like, hey, if you want to see a stream or show of some sort, there it is. Also, like in case, like, and I've thought about this forever, and I've never wanted to act upon it, but yeah, it's like, gee, it would be handy. So like if somebody ever wanted to have a show and be like, well, let's go to the guide, look at this, or like blah blah blah, a TV guide for streamers in the community. But yeah, all right. So we got to do a little housekeeping before we get started, and we don't have a color of the month. Because like, or did you bring the wheel? Well, you did. Excellent.
I made sure I will.
There you go. All right. So we have because
he's gonna be like, oh, we don't have the wheel, and I'm gonna be like, yes, we do.
All right, cool. So, instead of having
5 a.m., don't forget the wheel.
So good on you. Because I was pretty much banking. I think last week I said, hey, I don't think we're going to have one. That's okay. We went we went a year without it, or we went a summer without it. It's fine. I like that we will. Thank you. Like
that. Remember that time that we used like a virtual wheel? And I just wrote like random ass colors.
Yeah. Alicia recommended we could do that with like colored tokens, and then we all chip in like 6, 7, 8, 10 colors, are our preferred ones, and then we put them in, and then just draw them out. And we have more than 12, so it's not just like, well, it's December, I wonder what the color of the month's gonna be. So, food for thought later on. Yeah,
like
so
that
I
idea. 'Cause, I mean, this comes out every year, so we're like,
yeah, and
but
that's what I told her. I was like,
they have duplicates like each year too.
right.
So it's like that's a good idea. Thank you, Alicia.
But that's what I told Alicia. I was
Like
like,
Barry's not
Nicole
on.
loves her Sharpies. And I'm like, I would
I
hate
do,
to take away Nicole's Sharpies.
but it's okay. Trust me.
But yeah, all right, cool. Yeah, so yeah, I don't want to shit on anybody else's show tonight. So, so let's see, what other housekeeping do we? Oh yeah, yeah. So, um, this is the third week of September. It's only two shows because we life. So instead of saying, "Oh, we're gonna do something on the 22nd," no, we're just gonna have two dead weeks in a row, and we'll see y'all in October. Um, yeah. So that being said,
Aw.
sorry, dude. Like again, life, but it's like we all got stuff going on. We all got things to do. I purposely like set aside. I set aside to reschedule things so that when we have shit at the end of the month, that's when I schedule a lot of other things so that I don't have it butt up against Paint Club and vice versa. So it is what it
Aw.
is. So
Uh,
it's just the way I like the way I'm imposing my own scheduling. So yeah. So what have you got to drink tonight, or what are you drinking tonight? Because I know what I'm drinking.
um, it is the most exotic beverage in the entire planet.
Ooh, cheers!
Called water.
In a plastic cup.
Are
All
you?
right. Yeah. Yep.
Wait, look,
I've.
click it, click it.
Oh, there you go. Dink. All right. Cool. Yeah. Yeah. All right. Cool. Cool. All right. So let's see. We're gonna have some stuff going on. So, there we go. All right. Oh, we're in the Dr. Pepper shirt, not having Dr. Pepper. Oh. All right. So
But
let's
it's
see.
working. So.
What else do we have going on? I'm trying to looking at my notes with the side eye to see like what else is there and there is not. That's cool. All right. So double dead
Because you
week,
had a show without
color per
me.
month. Because I what?
You had a show without me. They're not notes for you now.
Oh no, but show must go on, dude. All right. So let's see, Nicole. Before you get into painting and we get into painting and stuff, let's go ahead and spin the old color wheel and see wheel of colors.
Dylan is such a hater. He's already in the comments being a hater. So I had
Ooh,
blue, and it's not milk, and he's just like, ugh. It's not, it doesn't even taste like coconut. It doesn't even taste like anything. Like, whatever. Anyway, whatever lands on the robot. Oh, before I spin it though, I do have to say he said to me that you wouldn't talk about Ahsoka, and I was like, yeah, because he doesn't talk about it until the shows are over.
yep, I do not.
My Rick, I know.
I will not. No, I. That's a good assumption. Like we'll come back from the break and we'll all be like, "Hey, cool! Can you believe Jar Jar lives?" And we'll be all right with that.
The rule is I have to do it again if it was picked, right?
Yeah, we're
Like,
not going to repeat the same color.
okay.
No, there's enough variety in there. We should not.
This is when Alicia's thing is correct.
Right.
God, it's landing on the same. Okay, maybe if I lay it down, it'll stop doing the same. Because that's sketchy. That's sketchy.
Right.
Or it just really, really, really wants us to use that color. Or it's gonna go forever, you know?
Okay.
I was gonna say if it fucking landed on the same one, I was gonna scream. I was going to scream. What sign is that? Yeah, okay. It's called leg
It's called what?
leg warmer orange.
Leg former orange?
Leg warmer, like.
Oh, leg warmer.
So it's not like this orange. It's more like this orange.
Okay, so pumpkin orange type thing.
Yeah,
All right.
that's a nicer way to say leg warmer orange.
All right, because they didn't want to say pumpkin spice.
I think the most ridiculous part
It
about
looks
that
more
is
yellow
that
and
I
orange.
have
All right,
this
cool.
here. I have
Uh-huh.
down here something I was going to show if we were on longer that's orange, and I'm just like, the universe wanted orange. Okay, let's do it, guys.
Cool, leg warmer orange.
Orange.
All right.
I
Well,
was
all
hilarious,
right. I don't know what I
not gonna
got to
lie.
do. I don't know. I don't know. Hey, Dylan, how's it going? You got some blue milk tonight? Oh, I thought you were gonna say you're drinking blue milk. Oh no. Well, that's later, man. After the force powers kick in. Oh, yeah.
After the force power. Oh my god.
Yeah. So like, all right. What have you got? What have you been working on lately?
Well, I was away, as you know. I was working on a tan.
Okay.
Working on tan. But
Tell us about
I
this.
was gonna say I sent you something. So tomorrow is a show that Priscilla is actually hosting.
Oh,
It's
very
an
cool.
all female. It's an all female lineup, and the show's called Libre. It's in honor of Mexican um, Independence Day, and like I try to kind of combine, I guess, like my admiration of Frida with
Mhm.
with the bully. Use some flowers that I had at home from my garden some ages ago, and that like I used to press and stuff like that. And then the rose I actually like. Okay, so I was like, how do I explain? Every time I get my mom like a bouquet of mini roses, like I split at the cemetery, I take part of it home for myself, like, and I dry mine. So that's what that rose is.
Oh, interesting.
So I named it. It's roses. So it's Margaret's roses, and my mom's name was Margaret Rose. So it all tied in.
Okay, very cool. Oh, sorry guys, you get a arbitrary crotch shot right now.
It's also the first time I've ever done a bully with anything like real inside of it.
Right on. Okay, how do I
So
get out
like,
of
it was the first time I tried it and it worked, and I was like, hey,
this?
one of those things as you sit there and you're just like, fuck, thank you.
Cool. All right, did we start? Are we out
You
here?
think the fake Lord, you think all of the.
There you go. That's cool.
Thank you. And then I've been working on my rainbow sparkle pieces. I have to send those out when I get home because they were due, but they're with me. I'm painting one. I'm painting one of them. So here, this isn't the one I'm painting, but this is my favorite one. It's a very translucent orange red, and then in the middle, a color injected glow in the dark and UV red. So that looks like a drop. I just haven't figured out if I want to paint one that's in red because I'm painting something special here on this part, or if I want to cast a white one, which is why I have quick set resin. Let's see how I feel in a second, but I'm leaning towards maybe one of each. So they have the same kind of like different vibe.
Right on.
Like one's painted, one's not.
Right on. That's cool. So okay, yeah, your color's red.
Yes, my color is red, which is funny because I always used to say that like I didn't want red ever because like fully like that because it's like very bloody. So I was like, okay, how do I make this not bloody? And just kind of like lighten it up with certain glitters and stuff like that, and like just like fuck with the colors and stuff like that. Like boom, not bloody.
Oh, there you go.
So that's still red, but I was very like
Yeah, when I first started painting toys, um, I was doing stuff when I was doing stuff local for a local shop. He was very much like no, and not that I did blood and guts then, or a lot of it, but he was very much like he didn't want blood and guts on custom toys because if they went into a store, he didn't want that in a store because he wanted his store to be very family friendly, and gore is not a thing for families, and so I very much didn't. I very much honored Denny's request of that, and so like I don't do a lot of, like when I do, but it's not something I go after nowadays, you know.
yeah.
So like it makes tons of sense. I don't know.
Plus, it's like for you already know it's supposed to be like a symbol of like mental health. So like to then make it look bloody, I'm just like, ah! Not that way. I'm not trying to mean let's talk about it in that way. And then like of course now, like I'm actually like kind of hyped about the play that I did on that other one because people are like, I got like a lot of messages today, and I'm like, I always hate when I hear people on like Instagram go, a lot of you in asked because I'm always asked, but like legit, like a bunch of people were like, oh my god, like is it just the one? And I'm like, should I do more floral like in it? Yeah, and so I thought about besides like how I've always thought about like how would I double cast it,
Yeah.
and I'm thinking of drawing out a like floral inner, like that could be the skeletal, so it's like a floral like arrangement kind of deal in the middle.
Hmm.
I'll have to see how it looks. We'll figure it out.
That's cool. You ever consider putting bullet cases in there?
I would need a lot,
You would.
so yes. Well, just because at least like enough to fill it. So I guess depending on the size, right?
Right. Sure.
They're all gonna sink, but it'll go right into the middle.
Okay. Right. How thick are the wings? I mean, like.
Um, 3/4 an inch.
3/4 of an inch. All right. That's cool.
They're very thin. Like even the rose, like in the other one, it protrudes like a little bit, but it's still like not for pressure pots because that thing like held it in like.
Okay.
Like it gripped it like you are not getting out of here.
Okay. Okay. Cool.
So it'd be I think it'd be cool to do portraits things or like something like that. Making like a shadow box with like a bully in the middle, or like even painting a bully in the background and then putting like spent light cases in there.
That's cool. Yeah.
What have you been doing lately?
Oh well, you know, a little bit of this, a little bit of that.
I know some of it.
So let's see. I got my raw man right here for the New York Comic Con show because that's coming up. I brought. While you were figuring out your mic system, I went downstairs and grabbed my piece for what is it? Feast? No, Number of the Feast. Yeah, or Mark of the Feast. So I got my Hamburglar for Mark of the Feast, uh, made off of a 3A Bomba Bass, and yeah, so like I just finished before we went live. I just finished editing the most of the video that I'm going to upload for YouTube, um, probably in the next couple of days. But this just
Wait,
got
that whole piece was from the same thing, even with like
so what? You're cutting out.
sorry, that piece is the same one that had the bubble. Like it came with that.
Mm-hmm. It's the whole thing,
That
and
is so cool.
it comes with 3 different faces. Yeah, dude. Like this platform is badass. It comes with it has the bubbles in the background. It actually comes with 3 faces too. Um, it has the derpy face, which is what I gravitated towards, and then it has the one with that's a robot with only one eye. And then it has one with a robot face with little respirator chunks to it or bits to it. And I tend to want to use the respirator or the robot face. Like that derpy one just doesn't do it for me, but it did it for me on this case. So
Oh my god,
yeah,
absolutely! It looks perfect for this. Yeah,
yeah,
good
thank you.
call.
Thank you. And like I love 3A toys. Like they they made I'm going to say made because of their change in designers, but they make cool toys. And yeah, like they engineer their toys to have as much articulation as possible. Like that one has it's articulated at the hip. I'm not going to touch it again because I've got my paint on my fingers, but the feet move, which is kind of super, it seems like arbitrary and superficial. But you can, but even though it's like just the feet move, you can. They're on ball joints, so you can position this guy forward and backwards. You can cant him to the side. You can position the feet a bit, um, and depending on how you, yeah, and I really dig it. So it only has 3 points of, I guess technically 5, but it really only has 3 points of articulation: the hip and the ankles. And you wouldn't think like a toy would have ankle joints, or if it did, it would have more than just ankle joints. Yeah, the hands don't move. The face, like I said, I guess you could rotate it around because it isn't just pegged in, and so are those bubbles. But it's it's not, just not. Uh, and
That's
it's
so interesting.
like, but to give you an example, I'm gonna go grab a. Let's see, I have one within reach. 3A does not skimp on their. Um, I'll grab this because it's already busted, but this is like one of their bigger toys that they make, and they make like they used to have I think they made a Transformer line where they were about this big, and you can see like this is huge. It's over a foot and a half tall, and you look at the hands; they're bigger than yours. Um, so let's see.
Put it against your hand.
There.
Yeah, it's definitely. It's probably. Yeah, it's probably.
and it had, and you can see the joints at the beginning at the palm, where these are all ball and sockets, and every finger has actually this thumb has more joints than ours. And yeah, my only complaint is that one of the hip I bought this on eBay secondhand, and one of the hip joints does not work very well, so it does not stand very well. Or very long, so I have it sitting. Eventually, I will probably be bastardizing this to just make a shit ton of other custom toys with it. So, like, I got it cheap enough on eBay, and probably cheap enough because it doesn't stand. So, like, eventually, so I'm like, it's just a part spot now, like, which is kind of unfortunate, but like, yeah. Or if we were still doing like, if the DTAs were still in effect, that would be like part of my custom of the year submission. So I could just have like the J. Rue rule of go big, biggest toy wins. Um,
I like it.
so yeah, um, there you go. All right, so let's see what else we have. Collected Con that's going to come up in a year in Chicago. Um, I know we both applied to that. We'll see how that goes. Do you know when they said they'll make decisions on that?
No, I don't know.
Okay. It's all right.
I
So yeah,
only
we
knew
got.
to apply because I saw your thing, and I was like, "Oh shit!"
There you go.
Because
Um,
I saw it before they posted it, so like on your thing, so I was like, "Sweet, time to go."
there you go. So yeah, that's going on. Let's see. Alicia found me a Halloween event that I've applied for it. I'm waiting. I got another week until I find out whether or not I got approved for it. So fingers crossed for that. It would be
Where
nice
is
to.
it?
It's local. I don't know, somewhere in the Twin Cities, um, but like I could use the gig, and so like because it's Halloween themed on I think it is on Halloween or thereabouts. I've been casting a lot of brains and hearts with some little dump molds I have, so that I could like make cool um, magnets with them, and like the plan has been to do groups of 6, so that I could have like colors of the rainbow and whatnot. So um, I bought, I don't know, I have one of the some a resin by Smooth on that's it only takes like 10 minutes to set and or less, and I've been pretty pleased with the way it works, because like for those of y'all who don't know, I'm very much not a resin caster. I, I'm not a 3D guy, but this opportunity has presented itself, so I'm like, well, let's see how it goes. And like I bet my methodology is pretty cringeworthy to the professionals, so I'm not going to go into detail about my makings and whatnot. But I'll say this: my measuring cup for what I pour the resin into, I don't use solo cups anymore. Um, I've got these weird measuring cups from IKEA that are, I think, they hold a pint, which there's no way with that quick resin that you're mixing a pint. But the resin doesn't stick to this stuff, so like I can pour my I have 2 of them, so I pour my resin into one, and then when I do my next next mix of resin, I just let it cure into this up into the first cup, and by the time I'm ready to use it again after the second cycle, it is I can peel it out easy peasy. This stuff works better than the silicone cups. Like I'm super impressed with it.
It just showed me a picture. So
I do, and it has measurement markings on the sides of these things. So I just dump my resin right into these things. Like I don't make A cup and a B cup and a C cup and a D cup and whatever. I just mix the shit in, and it goes. Like I said, it's cringeworthy how I'm doing it. But
okay, well, if you want to cringe, I'll cringe with you because I don't actually do the. Oh, my scale tells you what milliliters and grams and everything else is. Cool, I'm gonna weigh the fuck out of it, and then who knows if it's wrong? Science.
there you go. Yeah.
You know what's
So
funny? The Lumilite, like at the at like Michael's, it's by volume, but then at if you get it like online or whatever, it's by weight. I mean, I think you could do either or, but it tells you like on here, to measure by like milliliters or whatever, and then the ones that Are you using the pressure?
Yeah. I don't know.
That's my story.
Yeah, I don't like it's too much science for me. Like, I'm not gonna boast to my good buddy Jason about like, look at how I cut my corners and do this. I'm like, the resin mixes and it cures, right? So like, it's cool. To me, it's cool. Like, yeah.
Yeah. One of my friends said I'm not good with the science, so I don't really mess with it, and or not. I don't mess with it. I'm not really good at the science, so like I don't really pay much attention to it. And I was like, if you're resin casting, that's literally you don't pay much attention to it. That's the whole thing. That is the job.
Yeah.
I'm like there is no not paying attention.
Yeah. I just make sure that I don't get it on me. My respirator is good, and yeah, like, I'm very I can't. Yeah. I'm too. Yeah. I'm too haphazard. Whereas my parents would say, careless. Uh, but yeah.
Not you.
Yep. So,
Not
and
you.
I say that as I'm trying to just like, ooh, let's put a glaze on and be careful. Got the tongue out and everything. So like, yeah. And then I found out like, so I think, well, I have, well, my lighting looks good today. I found that like my overhead lighting fucks with my camera work to where like I've lost some pretty decent footage because like the I get those rolling black bars and it pisses me off. Some of the footage I've lost, I've ended up like if I speed it up fast enough, the lines go by so fast you can't see them. But yeah,
How do you
so
do
I have.
that?
Say what?
How
You are
how
break.
how does that happen?
I think it's old lights where it's just the camera setting, or it's. I'm not sure. That kind of science escapes me, but I've figured out how to avoid it. Right. So whenever I sit down to do before I sit down to do a paint session with the camera on, I end up just like setting up the lights, push record because it is time lapse. Then I go do something, and then for a few minutes so I can then come back, review the footage to make sure that I'm not getting the goofy rolling bars, and that seems to work out pretty well. And by trial and error of like figuring out like which sets of lights have to be on and off, or which light is it that's fucking with it. It's like if you've ever taken a picture of your monitor, you'll know how you notice how you'll get a black swirl that just kind of cuts across, and that's what it's doing because your monitor is showing off light going sideways and up and down at the same time. So you're picking up that fluctuation, and yeah, that's always been a thing. Um, and apparently, technology is not caught up. So yeah, exciting times. All right, so
Maybe that's the technology that you can create.
I'll just say fuck it. I'm gonna do this way. Um, yeah. I should have grabbed something that was a little less intense to paint tonight. Yeah. So what have you got? What's that platform?
This is an artist named Sad Boy.
Uh,
I think he usually does like 2D art and stuff, but character of his Sad Boy. It's upside down right now because the 3D print is hollow and I'm backfilling it.
Okay.
So,
And is
so
that
I'm
for a
back.
show or somebody gets you a piece to show
No,
off?
it's just right now ow, since I'm like I'm making these little like resin pumpkins. I figured I'd use the excess resin to backfill. So I just brought it.
I see. Okay.
Like
Very
anything that I
cool.
had that was hollow, I figured I'd just like, I'll bring it
So
with
it's your
you in case.
so you're using them as dump molds.
Yeah, and it's in its own way. Yeah, it is. Look at that. Never thought of it like that.
All right, cool. Yeah. Well,
I mean, I guess
waste not one. Mhm. I should have done that for. I had a buddy of mine. I have found that a love for. I think I did release. Yeah, I made a video on YouTube or for my YouTube channel of I made a Space Marine Barbie, and I I used an online miniature maker website to make a 3D model. And cool thing about this company is like, yeah, you can make it on their website, and you could pay to have the STL, or you could pay to have them print it for you, for a cost, of course. And
of course.
and I made the Barbie, and I was like, oh, this was fun. And it was pretty much around the same time as the Barbie movie coming the Barbie movie coming out. So I very much just like I could jump on that bandwagon a little. Um, and yeah, and I had such a good time on it. I ended up like making some other characters from a game on it, and I ended up asking on Facebook who could print up something for me cheap and fast. And I know you saw that call out because yeah, good, cheap, and fast. And because the old design world, the design adage, people want good, cheap, and fast, but you only get two of the three. And
Yep.
and so um, I ended up like anybody who said yes they could help me. I ended up getting an STL to them so I could get different things printed, and I got my first one back about a week ago, and it's already. I had to clean it up and prime it. I had to fill it and prime it, and it's actually been primed twice. That's why I said it twice. Once I primed it with the airbrush, and then I started like messing around with because I had colors in my airbrush, so I had this primed, and so I was just kind of laying out colors to see how it would work or how it might work with the color schemes I was playing with at the time or using at the time, and it came out okay. But ultimately, yesterday, when I was outside painting other stuff, I just wiped it all off with denatured alcohol, and that worked, and it worked just fine to do so. But I purposely did it this way so that the wiped off acrylic paint could act as a really cheap and dirty fill, and it filled some of the gaps on it. I have the thing over there. I'll go grab it in a second. But it worked as a really cheap fill for smaller gaps, so it worked. And then I just hit it with a better, more durable primer that also filled it, and I was pretty pleased with the results. And it's not like, ooh, it's not like it's a high definition print, um, but I'm really happy the way it came out. And and yeah, like almost everything I do nowadays, it's pretty much like it'll eventually find its way up on the YouTube channel. And
Good.
yeah, I hope so. Like, speaking of the YouTube channel, if anybody watching this now or later, um, if you like what you see being painted here, there's way more of it on my other channel, and easy enough to find me because you type it in the search bar of YouTube at Rickstro, that exactly, and you'll find my channel. And yeah, I have the conceptual desire that the Tooth Fairy diorama that is sitting right over there will be given away once I hit 200 followers. So free.
No, really?
Yep. So yeah, I have like
Wow.
100 and I have 140 plus. So my push for my next goal is 200, and so yeah, anybody wants
We're gonna
to.
get him there. Let's do it.
So yeah, like if you're not following me, please do so.
If you're not following him, what the fuck are you doing?
This is just so. Are you following my
He does
YouTube channel?
I think so. Let's check.
All right, I'm going to call you out if you're going to call out everybody else. We're going to double check your work.
Let's see. Because I don't think I have any subscriptions. How many do I have? Any? I have us.
Oh,
I have
good.
us and I have us and the Craftsman. I have us and the Craftsman. That's it. Okay.
Oh, shame.
Yeah.
Dude, YouTubers love having subscriptions. It costs you nothing. Absolutely nothing to hit a subscribe button.
Shameful human. Yeah.
Like, I'm
your 145.
Cool. Thank you. This is where you're going to get some good old Rick Stroh guilt, and trust me, I have been shown how to guilt by a professional. It costs nothing for YouTube to subscribe to a YouTube channel, but it means the world to every YouTuber, every fucking subscriber they can get. Because in the off chance that they are able to monetize, then it shows them that their passion is worthwhile. And
yeah,
as passionate as passionate as I am on this channel about stuff, because I love talking. I love showing off my toys on the other channel, and I love to be able to have as much of a audience on that as possible. And since this is like the income, the revenue for my method of income, it would be cool to one day monetize it. I'm not saying that, like, if it happens, awesome. If it doesn't, okay. But yeah.
But let's aim for it will.
All right, let's see. Well, there's the first coat. So I'm painting a bonsai tree out of my ROM.
That's so cool.
And I have one error in this, which is whatever, that I can't fix. But yeah, so very much a synthwave design. There will be a pop-up in the bonsai garden that's already painted down. The little rock, everything on the ground, pink, orange, yellow, and the pop-up's red. So I get to put my tiny little character in there. So let's go. Me too. I have a buddy who's photographing it in different ways. We're working on a new story for it. All right, so let's see. While everything dries. Yeah, so here's my 3D print.
Oh my god.
So it's from, let's see, it's based off of Games Workshop's, what is it, Warhammer, yeah. And one of their demons, and I don't remember which faction their demons are. I've never played Warhammer. I used to paint a lot of miniatures for that when I was in college, because people had beer money to throw at me, and I was happy to take it, paint it, and drink it. So my buddy, shout out to Chris for printing this. He ended up removing some of the legs and giving it pegs so it would print easier for him, and easy for me. So yeah, so it's an asymmetrical demon. There was an error in the part of the axe. There was an error in the axe that I told him not to worry about because I can just I told him I'll resculpt that part, and so I ended up sculpting 3 little tentacles to go as the pommel for the axe,
That's
and
cool.
so I made 3 different tentacles. So I went bare minimum of just a swirly, and then I went the swirly but with pressed in sucker cups, so you can see like doo, 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 doo,
Oh,
there, and then actual sculpted donut sucker cups. So I haven't printed. So yeah, they're all about an inch and a half, inch and a quarter long. So they will just. So they'll go this way, and yeah, I don't care about it. Some about any of the like whatever errors people will say call them errors. I don't care about it on this because like it's just cool. Like the only problem I have, and this has nothing to do with the print job. What the fuck was that? You or me?
oh, that was rubber band. Sorry, that was mine.
Oh, it sounded like a weird chime. Anyway, so it's fine with some of the printing things, but like, let's see if I can. Well, I can zoom in on this. All right, you can see like it's supposed to be a miniature. It's supposed to be about an inch and a half tall. All right, and so that's how much information uh, Hero Forge provides you, is so that you can have a inch and a half tall miniature. But when you blow it up to be a 9-inch tall thing, all of a sudden, all the registration, or not the registration, the resolution gets to be seen, right? So like, it's this is a
Okay.
scorpion tail. It is not supposed to be, when it's an inch and a half tall, you wouldn't see the framework like a zeppelin in there, and I think it's cool-ish, um, because I didn't intend for it to be hyper real. I'm okay with that, and yeah, so like there are some parts where like the face printed out really nice, right? Like that face came out printed out pretty cool. A lot of the details came out cool, but then when you get to like the shield, like you could see that the ribs in it. You
Yeah,
could see that in its skirt. I'm all right with that. Like
I like it though.
it's thank you.
It looks
It's
kind
yeah. I got it so I could paint it, so I could show it on YouTube. So like the first video for this would be like just me making it on Hero Forge, and then the second video for this would be how I painted it up instead of using their own like imagine their own digital paint shop, right? So like yeah, this is as small as I like to paint miniatures nowadays because I don't like painting miniatures tiny anymore. I've done that, and I've had enough beer to pay for it. So, um, yeah.
of. Now, what if
So that
it was a miniature and it wasn't like that kind of miniature?
what do you mean? Like if it's still tiny?
You know,
Like I mean, I still
yeah.
paint tiny things, and I have no problem doing it. But like I don't play Dungeons and Dragons anymore, and I don't do tabletop games, war games, and stuff like that. So to do that is not my cup of tea. But if like I'm painting pups that are no bigger than a miniature, so clearly I still can do it. They're all simplified nowadays because nobody wants to pay the price of a highly elaborate inch and a half toy. So, and those get simplified because of price point. But I've seen miniature painters make hundreds of dollars on just an inch and a half tall thing. So,
Jesus Christ.
hmm? I mean, like if you went right now, or if you went searching on Amazon, right? Oh, not Amazon, eBay, um, you could find custom painted miniatures that are hundreds of dollars. You could also find them very, very cheap. And Etsy, the same thing. You can find, like it all depends on how much you're going to pay, right? And who, and from who. So yeah, there's a bit of a odd tangent for tonight. Oh Jesus, too much. All right. Oh, and then I don't have any of that.
And then
I don't have any of that. Dude, how about that other dude? All right. Let's see. What else have we got going on? All right, so we got shows going on with Clutter, with Ghost Fox, with Martian Toys. New York Comic Con, Stormy Vault. My Stormy Vault piece is done and ready to go. I've like, excuse me. I have, my Stormy Vault piece, which is done. It's over there. It satisfied last month's color of the month, so it is very lime green. You have not seen maybe you have. I don't know if I've shared it on. I don't think I've shared it on Instagram yet because I'm sending it to the show. So let me grab that in a sec. And yeah.
Oh, this is perfect. Ow, that's hot.
Lots of fucking purple in this.
So right. I have a show called Pizza Ween with Plastic Pizza, and it's at New York Comic Con. I just casted using a mold using an ice like whatever from Target that was $10. I just made the little mini pumpkins for Pebbles to sit on.
Oh, nice.
Yay!
And you made that?
I just casted this shit.
Cool.
Like right now.
Yeah, that's me with the hearts and brains. It's like, oh, I can cast that. I can do something else. Like the only thing I couldn't do while
I legitimately was like at Target and I was like, that ice mold is perfect for what I need to do versus going on eBay or whatever, or not eBay, on Amazon. And then I opened it and I saw that it was glossy and I was like, even?
Right on. Yeah, I wanted to make. Oh sure. Oh sure. I wanted to make sidewalk chalk for the Halloween show or Halloween event if I get accepted to it. But I'm like, it's very poorly timed to make sidewalk chalk in October because that means like, here you go. Welcome to snow. You're not going to get to use that shit until next year, and then you will forget you have it.
Literally, you're making stocking stuffers for October.
Yeah. So, like, oh, that doesn't seem right at all. Earlier today, I did a live stream on Instagram, and I was painting, and I mixed up. I took all the gray model paints that I had, and I just mixed them all up into one bottle, and it was mainly because, like, one, it's a space saver, and I was like, why do I have 15 fucking shades of gray? Despite that, and
how many shades of gray?
15, and yeah, because I have 15 empty bottles in my garbage can, and I was like, I know. Did you get my joke? Yes, I did. I choose to ignore it. There's a reason. Like next time we talk, one of my upcoming videos will say, let's talk about analogous colors, and it'll probably get booted because analogous will be cut off. All right, so here's my, Dylan got to see this last week. Here's my space station diorama from last month's hobby challenge from Boylai Hobby Time. It is also satisfies the color of the month for the lime green. And yeah, so like you get this little cross section of an abandoned space station that is mostly lifeless. And it is made with the cargo container from Martian Toys. I tagged up the back of it, all the sides. Yeah, and it has to. I believe I varnished it. Like I'm pretty certain I did, but if I didn't, I'll just revarnish it tomorrow. Um, I still have a couple weeks before this has to get shipped out. So yeah, but yeah, so like in here you have this wonderful little space station, a cross section of it where it has been. The crew is no longer alive on it. Escape pod is intact. Science specimens have overgrown because nobody's been maintaining them, and then the invasive predator that has occupied the space station is hiding right here, kind of in plain sight, but it blends in with the mechanical inner workings to where, yeah, you're not going to find it. And the crew didn't see it either. And ha ha ha. One crew member
And that's
saw
why
it.
we are where we are.
One crew member saw it, and in the story of this space station, that crew member knew exactly what was being brought on board. He gave the commander a warning or said, "Hey, that needs to go." And the commander said, "No, we are taking that home, whether you like it or not." So the chief security officer did one thing that any sane person would do. He frickin' left. Just grabbed into his own escape pod and left. The rest of the crew never saw their doom come 36 hours later. So, mostly lifeless. Yeah, that's the story. And boy, do I have
the
a.
fact that you don't sit there and like actually type this up and include like little booklets with your shit, to be quite honest.
Dude, watch my YouTube video. That's the YouTube video on that. I tell the story on it.
Yeah,
Like,
but you can include. You hear what I'm saying though?
yeah, but now people can watch the video on YouTube and hear it and watch the progress of it. It's cool.
And then for the one person who owns it, they can have a yeah.
Yeah.
They can have a special booklet. I'm sold on my special booklet idea.
That's cool.
The booklet idea, okay?
I don't know. It's cool. It's valid. Like, like the Ramen box. I'm looking at both of them up there. They have cool comic panels on the packaging that tell a story. And Quicks, I don't know if he ended up actually making the comic for his tech world or not, but I know that was one of his idea. That was his idea, was to expand the world to have a comic of it. I mean, Alex had the idea for his ape world too, to turn it into comic form, and it's a valid concept. Like I love sequential art, and I love doing like comic book panel. Like, yeah, this is a great camera view. Everybody's watching me just look up. But yeah, it's totally a valid idea. I love the thought of it. But like, yeah, so I time lapse everything, and my buddy Telemachus has been like, "Oh, we should have a story for this, and then you can do this." I'm like, "Yeah, eventually." And I'm like, "Yeah, eventually needs to happen now," because like, as a
Time with the president.
well, one of my favorite commentators on YouTube is talking about how like, what is it? Not inspiration. Oh shit. I've lost the thread. It was not inspiration, but
Aspiration?
not aspirate. Like the amount of time you have versus the amount of um, not potential, but anyway, the amount of time you have versus inspiration, etc. Being like your time is limited on this planet, and like you make the most of it, so that if you're going to say like later, you've already decided to set up that project for failure until you complete it. So um, it's a habit like that I've been given or imposed on by my father in his world of procrastination, and I very much try to, and I'm very much trying to like break that cycle, you know. So like it's just like when people want to try and break the cycle of child abuse, you know, the cycles that you grow up with. They're what you were taught. So trying to break whatever behavior. Yeah. Um,
Oh, I get it. Trust me.
I'll get the right quote in the next day or so, um, and then yeah, and oh, let's see, I have
Yeah, one of my favorite quotes ever is about time, which is kind of funny that you say like that you're looking for a quote because the quote talks about how like the only person that has to worry about time running out because we're the only ones that actually like count time.
mhm,
You know, like the actual like a day, a week, a month, like you know, their birds don't give a fuck about that, and you know all that stuff, and it's like man alone are the only people that have the paralyzing out. And I was like, oh, I remember the first time I read that, I was like, woo, hit me in the feels.
right. Well, there's a fantastic quote from Henry Rollins too about how when people ask you to make time, um, you can't, because you as a person have a very finite amount of time on this planet. You cannot make time. Like you could only ask somebody to set aside time for you, but you can't actually they can't actually make time for you. You have what you have on this planet, and asking people to set aside a certain time or what, that's like you make that choice to ask them if they can do it, that they can set aside time for you. They make the choice whether or not they will. And yeah, it's like when you start wasting everybody's time, it's when you discover who's the asshole in the relationship. So
That's an understatement.
yeah, so
I'm always late. Everyone knows that. So I was not today. I've been getting better.
yeah.
I did it. I'm not gonna lie. I've been getting very, very, very good at not being late. There's that whole adulting thing and shit.
Well, you know, and
People
yeah,
like
so
to actually do it.
come on. Yeah. So yeah, there you go. And then yeah. All right. So the root system, not quite done, but my problem is tonight I'm working in. So I started making my own glazes, because like yeah.
Why not?
So once upon a time we you know you paint and paint. No, so once upon a time, you know, we would just when making like big portraits and stuff, you have your glob of paint, um, from a tube, and you know, you're just as you're going along with your glob of plate, you're mixing your water and your matte medium with it to make your glazes as you go along, and um, uh, it's a wonderful way of doing it, but for toys, it doesn't work out that great for me, and so I've started pre-mixing various colors with matte medium and excuse me, and flow improver, um, and water, so that I could have like a concentrated form. So like I can put it on a small palette and have just not exactly the right amount, but a smaller amount, um, and thin with water as I go. And I'm not sure. Like I've been trying this out for about 3-4 weeks, so it's not long, but it's like it's my own old school way of doing things, and like because of that, because I put a lot of flow improver in my mix, way more than I would have in college. Um, it just seems to take a lot longer to dry, and the other problem is like if I don't let it cure fully, um, it'll reactivate. So yeah. So you could imagine peeling it up. Um, Sometimes it's kind of cool that it'll do that. Other times it's like, ooh, we're gonna make sure this part's dry before we continue. And yeah, so I ended up
I can
the
see you doing like this, going like, nope.
yeah, and yeah, it works. So it's something that I'm probably gonna continue doing. I like it. Um, my the two pieces for the bonsai, they are down in the basement curing because I cut them out with foam, and then I ended up with that quick drying or quick curing resin. It's Spice Smooth On, so I don't know which one it is, but it cures quick.
It's
But
it's a liquid plastic, whatever.
is it?
Right.
I love how it cures because it's got a really really smooth grit, which seems counterintuitive, but I really like it. Just has that right feel. It feels like 2000 grit sandpaper, so it's just enough of a bite to not be glossy, except for whatever's not touching the mold. Then it is really shiny. But anyway, so what I did is I took this foam and I cut it into the shapes I wanted for the big and the smaller foliage, and then I mixed up a batch of resin. So I took this foam and I just started squeezing it into the resin to have it like absorb that way and get some body. And oh, I know it was curing quick because I could feel it. I could feel the reaction in my hands, and I'm like, all right, and I'm just like, it's still not hot enough. It's still not hot enough. And like so as soon as it got like what I thought was hot enough, I'm like, okay, they're gone, and I just take the gloves off, and we're all safe. I'm like, ooh, I'm gambling I'm racing the devil on this trip, and yeah,
You really are.
yeah, and this will be done by hopefully tomorrow, which is great because I have to go. I have to go deliver Alicia's grandma's statues tomorrow. So, um, yeah, like
For what?
Alicia's grandma, she commissioned me to. She has this land out in Wisconsin where, well, her property in Wisconsin is it's it it's big, right? And so she's had all these like uh, polystone statues all over the place, and she has decided that she wants them to have new life to them. And
Okay.
so she asked me to paint some a while ago for her, and I did. I painted them up, and she gave me carte blanche, which is the best thing ever. And she just said, "Make them bright." So I said, "Okay, you asked the right dude." And when
Literally.
when her dad saw what I did, when Alicia's dad saw what I did, he's like, "Ooh, like, oh, you don't like it, huh?" He's like, "No," and he's like, "Well, good luck to you. Let's see if she likes them." And she did, and pretty glad about that. And she liked them enough to where she's like, "Oh, let's see what other ones you can paint for me." So we went around, and she found three more
That's
pieces
so
that.
sweet. She loved it.
So Alicia has asked
Haha,
me.
Alicia's
Well, Alicia doesn't like my color. as much as Alicia and I love each other, she does not like my color choices when it's just me doing whatever I want to. Because like I tend to be way brighter into my palette choices than she would ever concede to. So yeah, my color choices are way more brighter than hers. But I also understand what other people like too. And so like if I were to make something for Alicia, I know like lime green is right out. Or if it is the tiniest bit of lime green just to give a little bit of accent. Like like if I were to paint her a purple and if I were to paint her a dragon, chances are it is going to be black and purple all over, and maybe the scales are shiny with silver highlights, and the lime green is probably in the eyes. Okay, where it's getting ready to breathe fire, and the lime green or hot red is coming out of its right in its mouth as like the start of the furnace, right? That's it. Like that's where that accent color goes. As opposed to
That would
me,
go
where
perfect.
yeah. So as opposed to me, is my dragon would be lime green. All right, and then we'll figure out what color the breath weapon is way later in life. But I've already told you how Alicia would like a dragon painted. All right. So that being said, I did not consult Alicia much on her grandmother's project because she said make it bright, and I had free reign. So the first few that I painted for her, I very much just grabbed my spray cans and I was like, I told her I was like, I'm not going to be painting these with a paintbrush because they're outside things, and I'm not going to like grab a bunch of enamels, buy a bunch of enamels. I'm going to do a little cost saving for both of us, and so they're all spray paints only, and that's fine. So like yeah, so Grandma got some really cool paint jobs from me, and she wanted more, and that's great. So I went a little broader this time with my paint choices, and I like it. Right? They came out fine. I'm not showing them here because they. I mean, this is a compliment. I literally fell asleep for a bit by the sound. Oh, asleep for a bit by the sound of your voice. Oh well, okay. Like I never knew I was that boring, Dylan. Sorry. I'll try harder. But yeah, so I painted up three more things, and one of them's like way more subdued just because of the colors of paint I had available. But I'm like, yeah, they work fine. And but Alicia was like, you need to paint those faster because we need to get those in Grandma's hands now. I'm like, oh, okay. I didn't realize how pressing the rush was until there was a rush. So this is why we are doing the show today instead of tomorrow, is because I have to go deliver those tomorrow so that I can put them in a very nice little old lady's hands before I can't. You know what I mean? So yeah.
Ah. Ah.
So
Ah.
yeah. So that also means potentially
That was
we will.
second, but
Yeah.
that's fine.
Yeah. Well, like nobody can deny a grandma. And yeah.
No.
So there we go. Oh, check that out, dude. So we got
Ooh.
swirling it up around like the base of the raw man, like this blue green to this white, that's done. Everything else is what's getting painted, but like I love this fade so much that that's it. Like that's just and the everything else is going to wrap around it, and it's a little minimal,
I love it.
but like this is my favorite color combination. um, I've been using it for I don't know 8 months, but I really like how this blue green fades in with this yellow and white, or pale yellow here. So like wherever I can put that, I kind of do now. So I'm like, that's what New York Comic Con's for, right? In a show, in a piece in a show is to show off like what your preferred piece of colors are. So I'm like, well, that's my preferred color right now. So that's what we got.
I think it's pretty fucking cool.
Thank you. So what I'm
You're
doing
fucking
is,
beautiful.
thank you. So what I'm doing is I'm glazing. I've glazed in this purple to like show off some of the details that I sculpted on the tree and to blend in the sand and the values on the tree. And then I've taken some of this purple and I'm taking it with the brown glaze that I put down here. So the purple and brown mixed together will create a not a black, but it does dark. It complements itself enough to where it darkens up, and that's going to go in some of the recesses on the sides for value, and just create some nice volumetric dimension that we're going to have all over the place. And we have 10 minutes before boozing buddies, so
Oh yeah.
trying to keep a conscientious eye on the time. So yeah.
So I need your opinion for later. I need you for Sunday.
Okay.
I'm doing my face paint like I usually do,
Face
and
paint
for football when I go
for
live
for
for the
little
game.
kids.
Not for me.
Oh,
For me. The first time I did like a patch around my eye that was like Raider colors.
oh,
So
okay.
a pirate patch. And the second time I did silver and black flowers around my eyes for like Day of the Dead, and I was stitching around my mouth.
Uh huh.
Dude,
Oh, what?
like stitching. Like,
Oh, a stitch. I did not hear stitch. I'm like, wow, you were drunk at a party, huh? Um, like that's why. Fuck, dude, you're breaking up tonight. It's like I'm going to double check to make sure I'm not
no
assuming.
headphones.
Forgive me for not assuming, right? Like, all right. So
Lacking
you got
headphones.
stitches. Okay. So you want an eye
I don't know what
patch?
to do for this.
Do you have silver paint or gray paint?
I have both. I have a whole face paint kit with me.
Okay. Oh, dude, you should be. Who's your favorite Kiss member?
Oh, I don't know.
That's my recommendation.
Paint my whole face a kiss.
Yeah, Raider colors. Yeah.
Black and silver face, but paint my
Why don't
face
you?
like Soka with Raider colors. Because I haven't done my full face before, so.
You should. Dylan, I'm going to go with this. Yeah, Dylan's right on. You should paint. You should be like Raider Soka.
Raider Soka. Okay.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, there you go. The show agrees. Raider Soka.
The show agrees. How's that gonna? Well, now I gotta look. How's that gonna play out?
Yeah, that's cool. Great.
Oh, my phone's gonna die.
This is where. Okay, well, we'll just cut it short. All right. Thanks for watching. We figured out Nicole's Raider question for tomorrow. And yeah, so they can find we'll swap roles. They can find Nicole at the.madhattress right there, and let me do it right. Oh, haha. Nicole's phone died. All right, you can find Nicole over at the.madhattress. I was gonna say use the back black as a base, but then actually I thought about it. No, you should use the black as the base, and then you have the fucking cool things like that. That's cool. No, dude. That's cool. Go for it. All right, so Nicole at the.madhattress, and then me, Threads, Instagram, and at YouTube, on YouTube at rickstro.com. And yeah, thanks for joining this abbreviated episode of Talk About Paint Club. We will see you later.